Well, friends, welcome to July 1, 2025. Happy Canada Day. Welcome back aboard. It's pretty gray today, but as you can see, there is wind. The boat is in need of a bath, so I'm going to do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish I started sanding these handles. They were in very rough shape. Everything was flaking, moldy, moss. So those are pretty rough. I did this last week, and I'm trying something new. And typically what I've done in the past is I've used Cetol and Epiphanes varnish. But this year, partly out of laziness, I'm trying this oil. This stuff here. Daly's Seafin Teak Oil. I've never used it before, so I'm gonna give it a shot, see how it turns out. I can see it's the gray on these inner parts of the grain is already showing through. So better put some more on that, and we'll see how long it lasts. Back here is my other piece of teak, and you can see how gray and flaky this is, so I'm gonna go at that with my scraper and some sandpaper. We'll throw the oil back there. Mercifully, that plus the rails plus that piece there is the only teak, the only bright work that I've got to worry about. So that's good. Appreciate that. Yeah, and then afterwards, maybe go for a bit of a sail, and I'll take you out with me tomorrow if the crew is okay with it. Tomorrow is a race night here at the club, so maybe we'll go racing together too. So anyways, I'll show you a little bit of this teak work, I guess, and get the boat cleaned up and maybe go for a sail together. All right, we'll see you then. So when I started attacking this last week, I went at it with a pretty aggressive 60 grit. That's just how rough it was. I typically don't like to go with such a coarse grain of sandpaper on my teak, because every time you do it, you're losing some of it, and the stuff is expensive and a pain in the ass to replace. So typically I want to make it last as long as possible. I want to be as gentle as possible, but I didn't really have a choice because it was in such poor condition. So now I'm going down to a 120 now, and this is just to get it ready for that oil. I want to make sure it's nice and smooth and try and take out as much of this gray as possible. What I probably should do, but I'm not going to do because I don't have any and everything's closed today because it's Canada Day, is I should use a teak cleaner, and that'll bleach out the gray. But that's a future me project. So for today, all I'm gonna do is my best that I can. And hopefully it turns out good enough. Good enough is the target. The thing about this teak is, as it wears away, just from, I don't know, the weather, probably, the grain wears at different rates, so you get high spots. And it was quite pronounced, particularly on the ends of these handles. So I've been taking my time to try and get it smooth again. Getting it hyper smooth is probably less important when you're using this oil that I'm trying. Again, first time ever, so we'll see how I like it. I feel like if you're going to put varnish on it, you want it nice and smooth. Funny, these handles aren't round anymore. There's flat spots on them, probably from years of guys doing what I'm doing right now. if you're really going to get serious about doing your handles, probably the thing to do would be to remove them. Take out these bungs, unscrew it, take it right off the boat. So that's like 5 more steps than I want to do. Again, we're just trying to get to good enough. So this is just to show you, this is the part that I've just sanded with the 120. This is what I did last week with the 60. And you can see how rough it still is, and you can actually see there's still moss in those crevices. They're really hard to get at. Oh well. Okay, so the way you're supposed to put this stuff on apparently is with a brush or with a lint-free cloth. I'm doing this all rough and ready. I'm not taping anything off, which is very unlike me. I'm a huge proponent of masking tape. But the whole point of this thing is it was supposed to be the quick, cheap and cheerful approach. So all I'm doing is I'm taking some shop cloth and I'm wetting this thing out and going to town. All right, so let's see how we do here. I will say that right when it goes on, it's very pleasing. It's dark, it covers well. Now, apparently what you're supposed to do 24 hours from now is come back over it with a very fine grit, like a 400 grit paper, and then apply it again. And I guess you should do that more than once. Maybe not necessarily with the sandpaper every time, but the more layers of this oil you put on, I guess, the better, right? I mean, judging from the companionway, which has 2 coats on it, it looks like it could use a 3rd coat, and I will do that today. You can see though, I would have benefited from bleaching this teak. This gray is definitely gonna show its ugly face again. That is a guarantee. Oops. Spilled a little bit on deck there. I don't know how big of a deal that is. Rough and ready, right? Looks pretty good though, right? I think so. Just a question of how long does it look good for? Okay, so 5 minutes later, it's done, and that's, I guess, the beauty of this stuff. Well, the first coat's done anyway. You can see it's not going to bleach the gray, so if you really want to tackle that, you either got to get more aggressive with the sanding, or probably even better, use that teak cleaner stuff. But compared to how it looked, that's much better. I actually did put a little touch up on the companionway too. It looks pretty good. I even did the table down there. I just went over it with like a 1000 grit sandpaper, which basically just took off some gumminess. And then with the shop cloth, I went over top of the wood and kind of brought it back. So this stuff is pretty useful, I think, for just doing quick touch-ups to bring a little bit of shine back to your wood. So next we're going to tackle this grossness and see how That's probably Cetol that's on there right now. Yeah, so that's in rough shape, so get the scraper out. Alright, so we've done the sanding now. Now it looks like this. That's after some 60 and some 120. So now we're going to try the oil back here. Here's how the oil looks after an hour or so. Not quite as good as it did. Needs to be sanded and reapplied for sure. Okay, one coat later, looks mildly better. I should put it on another coat, but the wind is blowing and I want to use the boat, so let's go for a sail instead. Okay. Getting out on my own in this big boat is still a challenge. It's not graceful, let me tell you that.
So just before we head out, I just wanted to show you what the companionway hatch looks like with Cetol and Epiphanes compared to the oil. They're pretty close. I mean, the Cetol and Epiphanes probably looks better, but it's 10 times more work. So you be the judge.
Thank you. Good. Thank you. Okay, we're sailing now. We're doing it. Thanks, Otto. Otto's got the helm. Just a nice 5.7. Good amount of heel. I don't have my inclinometer on yet, but I'll get that going here soon. Oh, rounding up. Come on, Otto, you got this. Still rounding. Uh-oh. Otto can't keep up. I better take it. So 24 knots apparent breeze now. We're making 6.5 knots without really trying too hard. I got the main cooked all the way down to the low side. Just to try to take a little bit of heel out of the boat. Although we're still pretty heeled over, I'd say. Rail's not in the water yet though, so that's good. That was graceful. Alright, so I don't know what to talk to you guys about anymore. It's funny, my one video, which is like the most clickbaity, 7 things you need to know as a solo, or that you need as a solo sailor, has like 23,000 views or some nonsense. So the clickbait works, which kills me because I really don't want to do it. So yeah, probably not going to, even though that's what sells. But then you sell out, right? Right. Yeah, so I am going to bring you along tomorrow for a race night, provided the crew is cool with that. Because that's some fun. There's been some action so far this year. At least 3 collisions. One pretty serious last week. Mercifully, none involving your boy here. Because what can I say? The boat's too fast. I'm way out in front. They couldn't hit me if they tried. I'm mostly joking. This is a little bit of all right though, you know? Calm down to just doing 6.2 of boat speed. Just a leisure sail at this point. That's quite all right. We're getting 20 knots apparent at 40 degrees. It's 16 knots apparent at closer to 60 degrees. So it's always nice to see yourself making your own wind. I do have to say, this boat is so good.